All right, today we got a special guest in the house. If you're older like me, you might remember him from his Death Row days as being the head of security or the general manager. You might know him from Bomb First, giving us all these jewels that we didn't know about. I'm talking about the one, the only Reggie Wright Jr. What's good, Reg? How you living, bro?
Man, respect, brother. Uh, glad. Thanks for having me on your channel.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time. You know, I just want to congratulate you on all your success. You're doing great things out here. I see you all over the place.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to, pass the time, man. Tell my story. Get my truth out there.
I hear you, man. So first I wanted to talk about Bomb First. Most people know you from Bomb First. Is that a joint venture that you got with your partner, John, or is that something that you own?
Yeah. It's actually John's channel. He owns the channel. But in the last few years, he's been sharing it with me and allowing me to get my story out on his channel because we have history together. Me and John, I've been John knowing since he was a little young pup. He was like a 17, 18-year-old intern that I hired in like 1998, 1999, and he was one of the first ones that built our websites and stuff like that before they got big. And so John been part of our family for a long time. Yes.
Yeah, because I heard Spider-Loc talk about him, right? Like he was interviewing Spider-Loc real early in them internet days.
Yeah, on the website, on the web channel, Death Row on the forum. I guess y'all used to call them forums back then. I didn't know anything about websites, and I didn't even have a MySpace page. Y'all remember the MySpace page? I didn't have one of them, man. I didn't know about social media, But now I'm a social media whore. But shit, back in the day, I didn't know anything about social media just until the last 2 or 3 years.
It's interesting because it used to just be all about talking on the forums, and that's like even where you got a lot of your news before all these hip hop news websites came up,
Correct. There was one that I used to do some articles for. He used to always catch me on my phone. Some Thug Life Army. Do y'all remember that one?
Yeah.
It was a big one I used to do now. I always mess with John. John always would get me to do something. We talking like 2012, 2013. But prior to that, the only one I knew about was allhiphop.com and the Thug Life Forum magazine, really. I think it was a magazine or website channel. Yeah.
So what year did you start Death Row and then officially leave?
I started working there in 1994. Mainly just I was still an active police officer, and I started in the capacity of just supplying security for some of his properties and events, and some of his bodyguards when they went out, not on a daily matter, just when they went out in public. Because what we don't know and what people forget about is there was a big lawsuit that Snoop Dogg went through from his murder case because the guy that actually did what he's supposed to do, Malik, shout out Malik, but it was because of his training and liability that big corporations, even though you do the right thing, sometimes you have some liability because they said if you would have had a person that was better trained, they always go back to training, that maybe they would have handled it a different way, or you might have not put it in that situation. And so when you got big companies and you got a lot of money out there, and you don't want to keep paying out judgments and lawsuits when people get money back quarterback you try to do the right thing. And that's all Death Row was trying to do, is just to give their way a better defense. So if something like that did happen, that they would say, hey, we tried to do the right thing. We tried to hire the best guys we could, what can we do? Why y'all giving us these big harsh judgments and stuff like that? We try to do the right thing, and it ain't like we going out there trying to pick fights or having gunplay. But unfortunately, that's what goes on in this rap community and, the environment that we in. And so that's why Suge came and got me along, not for no assassins or no killers or nothing like that, just to try to have people to be good witnesses, to come to court. Because y'all know how hard it is for these guys, especially in the 90s with this, now these motherfuckers get on the stand because the government giving out so Social Security numbers this time now. It'll be like, wait a minute, forget this. I need to get down first. But back then, guys had a little bit better code, and didn't talk to the police as much as they do now. You still got guys out there that have that code, but for the most part, those Social Security numbers, those Social Security numbers will break a brother down. You got your little kid, and talking about they 2 years old, and you're gonna be 27 before I can be home and see you again. You be like, yeah, and I gotta say what? I gotta say what? And so some of it, they make niggas get weak at the knees.
So when did you officially leave Death Row?
I left. Yeah, you can talk about 3 times now. So I left in 2002. I went and started. I put out a group called The Relatives. If y'all never heard that album, The Takeover, the album The Relatives, y'all need to go and stream it. Trust me, it was a classic. And I went and started working with a company called American Music in Downey, California. And they hired me to work there as a consultant and to put some projects together. And that happened in January of 2002. And what mainly happened was I came home. I mean, Suge came home. And I had went my house and got raided behind the Biggie Small bull crap and all that. And I just had a different mindset. And I was like, man, you coming home from prison, nigga, and you back on this bull BS again. I was like, man, I'm tired of getting my house raided. So I left. And I kind of made a little name in the music business for myself with the executives, not with you youngsters. Y'all still be like, oh, that nigga's security, he don't know what he doing. But anybody in the music business was like, okay, this dude know, he done learn. Shit, done gave him some good training over the 5 years. And so
when he was locked up, you were the general manager for 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah. And so that's what I said, why he was locked up. But now there's me and him. And when you got 2 niggas the same age and think they know everything, everybody wanted to be the boss or in charge. And it was his shit. It wasn't my shit. But what was happening, the people like Jimmy Iovine and all them, I was a little bit more diplomatic to deal with. They were like, oh, well, send Reggie over. We'll get it worked out, Suge. And I started noticing Suge was like, he would never say nothing because me and him was like brothers, talk shit to each other but love each other. And I noticed the taste in his mouth where it was like, fuck Reg. Shit, I'm home now. Y'all deal with me. I ain't got to deal with Reg. This is my shit.
Yeah, he ain't like that.
He ain't like that. He ain't never said, but you can feel it. You know how you can feel when somebody, the wrong word, the word that I might say is jealous or that jealousy kicked in, but that ain't the right word.
Right.
But that's how I felt. And so I had other opportunities. I took them in 2002. 2002, 2003, 2004. Then the nigga get violated, right? And he needed money. The IRS was on him. Shit just spending out of control. But people were willing to save him, but they was like, hey, we need Reggie over there while you lock down for this next year. We want to deal with Reggie. We'll help you. And we'll give you the money to get out of this hole. But you need Reggie back. And so I went back. He called me up to the prison begging. Red, and they were up there. Michael Koch, the guy that owns, at the time, Koch Entertainment, E1 Entertainment. He's like, Reggie, I don't do it, but you got to be my point person at Death Row. Can't deal with nobody else over there.
So wait, Death Row was with Koch at this time?
Yeah, I'm the one that did the deal right before. I did Koch Entertainment. I did that deal with them in 2001. That was my last deal. The end of 2001, 2002, January. I'm the one that brokered that deal with Koch Entertainment. I did that deal with them in 2001. That was my last deal. The end of 2001, 2002, January. I'm the one that brokered that deal with Koch Entertainment.
So was Jimmy Iovine no longer fucking with Suge and Death Row at this time? It was just too much trouble?
Yeah, he cut Death Row. He said, I don't even want to fuck with Snoop Dogg.
Wow.
I'll mess with Tupac stuff because I got to deal with you guys in the estate. But that's all. If y'all notice, that's all got put out. After Rage album came out in '96, and I guess we did a soundtrack, either Gridlock or Gang Related. I think it was Gridlock. He didn't even do Gang Related, the second one. He just we went to Brian Turner over at Priority Records. And so we was with Brian for about 2 or 3 years. But Master P was running that show. And we couldn't get shit done, man. We did an animated video on Dash for on his album. It might sound so crazy. Oh my God. Master P saw that video and damn near lost his mind. And that's when he came out with that bullshit ass animated one he did.
Right.
So I had to take some dudes up there and like, what the hell? And people would say, man, that's Master P smashing on y'all. And so I was like, okay, we gotta get the fuck away from Priority. And so we gotta,
especially at that time, Jimmy wasn't fucking with y'all because Dre was back.
Dre was back. Exactly, Dre was back. He wasn't hitting home runs yet. Dre was still unrecouped. People don't remember Aftermath. Been there, done that, didn't do that well for them. The firm didn't do that well. But guess who came and saved him? The white boy. Him.
But you said that the deal was officially over in 2001 with Interscope?
No. The deal still ain't over. Because, still do some Tupac stuff with him and all of that. But the deal with other things. See, we had a joint venture deal with them where they got 50% of everything Death Row did, but they had to pay for everything. So they had to give Sugar $1.5 million monthly advance to take care of things, to pay his bills, pay his artists, to pay for studio time, for all of that. But when Suge wanted to do a video, they paid for that. Suge wanted to go and do a big promotional tour, they had to front that money up. But the only thing Suge had to pay out his $1.5 million was for studio time and make sure the artist was taken care of and all of that. But when it came time to promote the album, then they would front that up, and then you go and put the album in the store, and then everybody just split the profits after everything is paid for. And so that was the deal. But that deal got terminated because of the clause of Suge going to jail in like 97, 98. But they kept us, so all we was able to distribute through Interscope and Universal and all that was Tupac stuff. Nothing else came out. From the Ass album to Chronic 2000, Gang Related, Michelet's album, Dead Man Walking, Two Gangsta for Radio. All of that came out under Priority Records or something.
Gotcha. So you come back in 2004, and how long does that last for?
4 years. He just got a year violation. I think he did like 9 or 11 months. Then he came home and he wanted me to come in the office, be hanging out. I was like, nope, not doing it. I'm a different man now. Here's your shit. I just came back for this year. But by that time, now Koch just hired me. So the same money, they were giving me 10 G's a month just to go, and I was just working and doing stuff. They said, oh, Reggie, you be the in-between. We can't deal with you.
So you was the middleman.
I was the middleman. I did that shit all the way up until about 2017, 2018, to be honest.
Wow.
For E1 Entertainment and Koch. So Michael Koch was always good to me. He took care of me.
It was paying you pretty good money.
He took care of me. He took care of me for, from what year is that? 2004 until, like I said, 2017, 2018.
Wow.
And then they end up, then they started selling the company. They sold E1 and Koch. And so
they sold it to Hasbro or Death Row?
Hasbro first, and then MRK, the new company, the hedge fund.
So when is the third time that you come back?
So I said then the bankruptcy. So 2007. I'm sorry.
What year was that?
2006 or 2007. I get the years mixed up. But I think sometime in 2007 is when he had to file for bankruptcy. Uh, and so then that's when he's like, Reg, I need you to come over here and deal with these people. You don't even want to know all the shit, man. These motherfuckers try to take my company and this and that. And and so I go back. That didn't work out too well for us. But by that time, that's when the Greg Cadian Task Force and all that bullshit starting up. And he's still running around. He wilding out. That nigga running around beating up everybody, getting knocked out. Fucking with Akon, getting knocked out. Fucking with, he just wilding out. Because he ain't got the money, he ain't got the crew, and he ain't got the backup and all that like he did. So to be honest,
basically what he always knew.
What he knew. He got broke down. They broke him down. They took his money. They broke him. So now we just running around extorting motherfuckers trying to get money to live and shit. And I'm like,
so did you have a conversation with him after he got knocked out?
Oh yeah, I seen him the next day. That nigga was walking around with a big old swelling upside his head, everything like shit ain't happened. Still talking shit. I was like, man, if I was you.
So he didn't seem humbled by it or anything.
Yeah, I thought it was, man, I would have been hiding until my shit healed up. I said, night. That nigga still walking around. But he was high. In fairness, Suge was just not high. That's a bad word to use on my boy. Drunk that night, tore up, slipping, walking out of the club. Nigga, you see where they hit him. Nigga, anybody can knock somebody out from, you hit him from behind. So he got sucker punched.
Everybody has their day, man. That's what people forget,
Exactly.
Everybody has a day.
Yeah, but a little motherfucker like that, Greg the motherfucking barber shouldn't have been getting up on him like that. But anybody can, like I said, you said it right. Anybody can sneak up on somebody and get them. But yeah, it was unfortunate that a little busted ass nigga like that got him. But then we forget about the Akon incident in Arizona where, now that boy wasn't no joke. He hit him solid.
Oh, so he got knocked out a second time.
That happened in Arizona. Matter of fact, it's strangely enough this year, that's where the Super Bowl going to be again. So I guess we call that the anniversary of that. I might do an episode about that. But that's when Akon bodyguard got him.
Oh, Akon's bodyguard got him because he was fucking around with Akon's brother, or what happened?
Well, that's what happened behind. It's actually behind something dealing with me. This producer named Detail, in jail now and shit. But he the one that did the One Wish song with Ray J and all of that. I had signed a deal with Detail. He did something with Cash Money. Detail was going to be a talent out there, dude from Detroit. But he got caught up in some shit. But Detail was signed to me on some stuff because I had Ray J and now for a little while Knockout Entertainment. I had this company, this dude named True That Entertainment that I was dealing with from Colorado. And so I got Ray J and Detail and all of them. Got them a little deal. And so now I'm telling Suge, because me and him back running around, like I said, collecting money from niggas trying to get money from everybody. Figured that we feel owed us. And so we were looking for Detail in there. Well, we got Detail. Detail wasn't really hiding from us or anything because we could always get to him or Ray J. But I was telling him about this dude, Detail assigned to me. And now he done signed a deal with Akon. And those niggas gonna have to pay. So they Suge called him alone, finally called Akon and said, hey, Akon, that dude signed to me. My people, you need to pay and all that. Akon, I think, was gonna work it out and all of that. But with Suge is everything, he still was living in the 90s. Right now, fuck the white boys, fuck the paperwork. Nigga, do that shit,
Brown paper bag right now.
Yeah, exactly. Shit didn't go right.
So during the time that you weren't with Death Row, like those years in between, were you still talking to Suge? Like, did you know what was really going on behind the scenes?
Me and Suge have always communicated. I mean, we going back and forth to tapping each other. I called him a snitch in 2012. He said some shit about he hired security for me, or I was trying to kill him. have him set up with his wife and killed and all of that. So we tap at each other, but we know how to get at each other. We know how to get up under each other's skin. Like I said earlier, like brothers do. You could talk, we could talk shit to each other. Well, I ain't letting nobody else talk shit about him, you know? And so that's the same way when when he had got in interviews like, oh yeah, well you just keep your enemies close and all of that, but never say my name, but he was throwing a jab at me. And so we do that. But to be honest, right now we both are, we don't talk to each other that much on the phone or anything because I can't, because I still got a little probation thing, a little tail that's almost over, be over actually this month, where where you technically fellas is not supposed to be talking to each other without reporting it to your probation officer and stuff. But we talk to people that talk to each other and stuff like that. And me and Sugar, man, we're gonna always be good. That's one thing I can always say. We got too much history. We know too much on each other to be enemies.
You
And
guys, two peas in a pod.
yeah, we go in and out, but yeah.
When was the last time that you officially spoke to Suge?
He called me when that shit got out. We did something on Bomb First. Well, he called John. I'll put it that way. He called John on the phone, and we taped the conversation where he just wanted to get it clear that not Akon, Ray J and Nick Cannon didn't have those rights. You remember they were saying that they had the rights for a movie deal and all of that stuff in like 2019, I think 2018, and he did a tape episode that we posted up on Ball First, just telling, hey, he's cool with them, and y'all can talk to them, but don't be signing no deals with them. If y'all got any deals or anything that need to be done, deal with my fiance Toy, and he did that, and we put that out. But other than that, I haven't spoke to him directly since then because I was on probation or pre-trial or something like that because I caught a little case for some marijuana trafficking.
Yeah, I remember that. So P.O., if you listening, he hasn't spoken to him directly.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Tupac is my favorite artist of all time, right? He might not be the most lyrical miracle rapper, but nobody spoke with more conviction and passion than him. Do you remember any deep conversations that you had with him, or did he ever like talk about death with you? Just stuff where you were like, damn.
I not personally directly about things. It usually be about where my security does something like that, or just being around all the time. Just talking in a group or being at conventions or places like the Brotherhood Crusade, where he took a bunch of gang members and talked to them and was talking to them about the Black Panther philosophies and stuff like that. Oh, very much. If you listen to any of the Black Panthers, you're gonna be hearing a lot from his stepdad in the upcoming future. A lot of people think he's like bedridden or anything like that. He's not like that. He probably had the disease, Dr. Matul. But once y'all hear that, man, y'all gonna hear Tupac all over, and his training and his mother's training, which bred them, because that's the type of philosopher, and that's how Tupac's training was. And so that's what was embedded in him deeply. Now, he also told y'all it's a white man world. And so when speaking that, he knew that and he learned that. And what we meant by that, and what we mean by that, we don't be disrespectful because race is race. I mean, just because you're a race, you're not a different person. But don't make you any less or better of a person. But he knew that you have to say and play the right thing. So sometimes you gotta, as Kanye learning right now, as Kyrie learning right now, you gotta scale back things and you gotta present it a different way. And so that's why you will say, well, he was the Black Panther revolutionary or something like that. He didn't always speak that because you see, he started off that way with some of his songs. He was real political and all of that. But you notice he started toning it down because he had become more mainstream. We all love him and know him like that, like we do today because of what has happened and how we built him up and all of that. But back in the early 90s and all of that, his album was only selling 500,000 to a million. He
Right.
didn't come as mainstream as we know of him today. And you'll go back and look at the numbers and say, "Oh well, strictly for my niggas was that that album wasn't bumping like a EPMD or LL or people like that was." You got to remember, even as far as 1995, Coolio, Coolio, Gangsta Paradise beat him out for Best Song of the Year at the MTV Music Awards. See, and so Tupac popularity and lyrics and all of that, it was something that grew on us later in time. It wasn't always a popular. The wording that he was putting out wasn't always as popular to the masses. There were a few people that got it, you know, in the early '90s and stuff like that. But most of his fans and his audience base, I'll be honest, came out this deal.
Yeah. I feel like he was really respected because of the message early
Yeah,
on, but it wasn't like people were putting it on massive replay like that, right? Like
exactly,
you knew if you really fucked with the message and everything.
exactly,
Yeah, and so I feel like what you're saying is a lot of times, and he said this before too, where it's like you have to enter somebody's world in order to lead them out of it, right? You need to.
exactly,
He was trying to tell the people what they wanted to hear in order to be able to tell them what they needed to hear. And you've seen videos where he kind of talks about those certain things. So were you in any of the studio sessions with Tupac? Do you remember any specific songs that he recorded?
No, I wasn't that type of guy. My thing was mainly the higher security. I always get the jab of being a security guard, but I actually just owned the security company. I ain't never really was out there doing security. I was too fat and too slow to be all of that. but I did hire guys and have the connections and being around. But no, I hated groupies. If you very rarely could find a picture with me with any of them. I mean, I was probably around them more than anybody. But you have less pictures of me than anybody that's out there because I hated that groupie type dude, especially as a security guard. You know
Right.
what I'm saying, or security guy. So uh, I would always be the one that's on the lookout or on post. That's how I would try to tell my guy, nigga, you need to be standing outside or something like that, or being right here, not right up on him. That ain't where the attack gonna happen. Give them their space. So always at the studio when stuff was going down, but not in the studio session. Yeah.
What is your favorite Tupac album of all time?
All Eyes on Me. Favorite album of all time. All Eyes on Me. Like I said, you gotta like your different heads. I'm more of a like the party, especially this too, where there was more of the ride. I'm in California. In Cali, we like to get in our cars and ride down the street playing music, and bumping. East Coast dudes, they dance. They go in there. Yeah, my boy Mac 10 or was it like you said? Gangsters don't dance, they boogie. We two-step and all of that. Don't think you go to a club in fucking New York, those niggas be in there shaking it like they do like Puffy do. They dance and they in there sweating. That's what I'm saying, all that. We different when it comes to that. And no disrespect to them. I'm just saying that's just how we are. And so we mainly, because we in our car so much because we got so much distance and highways. Well, those niggas, they in taxis trying to get to where they got to go. And
Right.
so we sitting in the car in traffic, bumping music, riding down the street, bumping music. Where that's not a big thing out there.
The car culture is so much bigger in California.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that as well, because they get drove around because parking is so crazy for them. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm more of the music that make you ride and that you can listen to while you're driving and riding down the street and stuff. And so that was definitely this too. All Eyes on Me.
Right.
Machiavelli is just that album is just more of a getting
That's
a message out.
that's
Oh,
my
I'm sure, as most people, because I see you into the lyrics and stuff like that, so you've been into it. That's where you just listening to the wording and the and the concept and what he's talking about. You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You ride around almost like a.
So there's no skips on that album, though. You know what I mean? But it's like that was like Tupac at his best that captured him, because you see the one side that's really the thug, really about getting that action, and then on the other side you got that deep message, like the white man's world, hold your head, and so like you got that duality there. That's that real Gemini kind of
Yeah,
vibe, right?
yeah. So I get it. I knew where you were going with that, and so that's why I lean more to All Eyes on Me, but most uh, lyrical contents or people that in depth, not just listening for the beat and listening to every word and can recite every word and all that. They gonna lean towards Machiavelli.
Do you feel like the albums that came out after his death tarnished his legacy because of the artists they put on the songs that he never worked with? The beats were redone, and kind of in some of them they actually had him shouting out some people that he didn't say those actual things, but somehow they manipulated the voice to be like that.
Well, you have to blame me and Tom Wally for that, and I don't remember doing that, to be honest. I really don't remember changing things. Now, let me just say this: a lot of the stuff were his studio garbage because that was stuff that he would have never put out. Totally agree with you on that, especially after until the end of time. Uh, Now, if y'all talking about the one that M did and all of that, I had no dealings with that. I can't even take credit for Better Days.
That album had him yelling out Banks, 50, all of
Oh
that
yeah,
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
that was M did. I had nothing to do with that. I was gone. I wasn't even with Death Row at that time. I was gone. That album came along. Well, Suge was so mad at me, but I had to do it. I needed $3 million. We had got a big judgment from the guys for Corrupt. Uh, because they said that we signed Corrupt from them and all that. And the jury was like, we got to get rid of this Death Row. That's why we changed the name from Death Row to The Row. Murder Inc. changed the name from Murder Inc. to the Inc. and all of that. Because everybody in the early 2000s was like, peace and love. We went back to some hippie shit. And they didn't want to hear nothing negative.
Right.
In the early 2000s, time had changed. 9/11 had just happened, and people were just different, right? And so they were like, we think the guys are smart and this and this, and we don't even really believe that he did anything wrong. But we want to put him up out of business because we don't like that name Death Row. And they gave us a $10 million judgment. $10 million.
Wow.
The judge even came back and said, oh, no, that's too excessive. I won't drop it down to $4 million, but $10 million is not justified. So anyway, but to file an appeal bond in the state of California, you got to put up 1.5 times to even, stop a judgment for being able to be executed. So we filed an appeal bond, but guess what you had to come up with? We had to come up with $8 million. We didn't have that liquid at the time. And without selling anything, we could have went. Dre offered to buy the Chronic for $5 million and all that, but shit was like, nah, I ain't selling shit. So I went to Jimmy Iovine at Interscope, and Jimmy was like, well, I'm tired of dealing with your ass, you and Suge Reggie, until the end of time. I'm tired of every time y'all want to do something. I think Still I Rise, Outlaws, the greatest hit album, we would always give them hell. We would extort the hell out of them, right? So they couldn't do anything without us, right? So he said, y'all gonna let us do this album, and y'all ain't gonna have no input or no say so on it at all. And so all right, you give us a $3 million advance, we'll let y'all be in control. And that's what happened.
So you didn't like the Until the End of Time album?
Loved it. I was a major part of that. I'm the one that me and shit got into our biggest argument behind that. I'm the one that pushed. No, that was the greatest hits. I'm sorry. But no, I'm the one that put Hutch and all of them and SKG and Top Dog, the people I was trying to blow up. Crooked Eye and all of them, and Darren Vega and them to do tracks. I'm the one that took Johnny Day off. People always get mad and say, why you took Johnny Day off of this? As a producer, I liked it better. Because they were all samples. Everything that was on there originally was samples. And so you wanted original content so you can make some music publishing. It would have still sold the records.
Right.
But that ain't where you make money at on the album sales. You make money off of your music publishing. So you got two sides of the coin. And so we
And
wanted
you
to get
got to
those
pay
samples.
so much for those samples.
Yeah. And so you don't want to give up nothing. You want to, you just go remake a beat. And we thought we was making it better. Some of the people didn't like it. I don't think y'all would felt that way if y'all would have never got the Machiavelli leaks. The leaks that got out. Y'all probably would have known the difference. But once you got the leaks, then you start comparing stuff, and you be like, "Oh, I like that version better. I like that version better." And that's just human nature. That's just how we are. You go ask your wife right now, or your girl right now. Do you like these pants or these pants? She gonna say this one, and you gonna say that one. So that's just
Right. What about Better Days?
Better Days was one that was done. That was in between the 2001, 2002, and that was when we were just really trying to get out of there, and we didn't care. We were just trying to get away. We were just trying to get money. Shit was on his way home, and we tried, but it didn't do.
Did you guys do Pac's Life?
Park Life, which album was that on? But that was that was a Prince. That was a Prince sample originally. The Park Life, I think that was the one that M did, right?
No, that was Loyal to the Game. Pac's Life
Loyal to the Game
had like T.I. and Ashanti on the lead single.
That was Suge doing shit at the end with E1. That was him and Darren Vega and all of them over there doing shit. I was gone then, so I ain't had nothing to do with that. But that was the money grab. That was just doing something with E1. They were hot at the time. Y'all got to give it to them. T.I. was hot. Ashanti was hot. Shit was fucking with Irv Gotti and Murder Inc. and all of them. And that was pretty much a Darren Vega Suge Knight project.
So is there any Tupac songs left? Do you know?
There's very, 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 very few.
Yeah.
Trust me, I went through them with a tooth comb. Everybody that went through them with a what they call it with a comb. I'll just say there's a term out there. They say that means small. We went through them and we picked through them like crazy. It's very few. There's probably some people that have them stored away, tucked away, and you hear Dad say he got a bunch, which is all bullshit. Because if you know anything about Dad, some motherfuckers would have been out with his vocals on them by now. It would have been a Dad, because Dads love the camera, Dads love the hype. Dad's just a little bit out there, so he would have did something that got his name relevant again. He can't sit on shit, which most people can't. Go get that money. You don't know how long you're gonna be here, how long you're gonna live. So it's hard to sit on something. But let me ask you a question. I think during the documentary, y'all gonna get a couple. Well, other than that, no. They'll stay putting out a documentary.
So I've been watching your videos all week preparing for this interview, and I got the famous Reggie look stuck in my head where you shake your head and you pull back and you open your eyes, right? You know what I'm talking about? Right.
I guess.
So when you talk about Snoop, and I've seen Napoleon of the Outlaws talk about this as well, that it seems like you guys feel like Snoop has disrespected Tupac since he passed with his revisions of history.
It's my opinion. I just think he's trying to write history to make himself and the Crip card and the Dog Pound card look bigger and better than what they were. Human nature, nothing wrong with it, and he wants to be friendly. I just literally watched the interview that he just did on Sports Center, advertising his new his clothing line store that he opened across from SoFi, and he's such a politician. He couldn't even. They asked him who you going for or who you want to win the college football game on Monday. Well, I don't know when this is going to drop, but Monday is the big national football game between Georgia and TCU. He said, I like going for the underdogs because I'm a dog, but they are Georgia Bulldogs. I ain't picking. I ain't choosing sides. He just want to be a politician. Snoop is in an era right now where which is cool. We're over 50 now. We should want to be loved by everybody. Smart.
Because he is a household name now, right? Like when he's just like accepted by everybody. I mean, like, you know, Martha Stewart, just like he's everywhere, right? He's probably like the most recognizable rapper. He's in like all these other commercials in different countries. Just like it's crazy. He's everywhere, you know? So you don't feel like Snoop is doing it with malicious intent to disrespect Tupac, but he's kind of doing it indirectly as a result of making himself look better.
That's all. Just trying to be more political, politically correct in the environment we are, and being a grandfather now, a dad, an older man. I get it. I'm just saying, say that before you go and say, well, this is how it was in the '90s, but this is how I wished I would have handled it, did it, or wish I would have felt back then. But this is how I feel now. This is how I would handle it now. Just say that, and then say what you believe.
Right.
That's the only problem. Don't make it out the way it comes across as Pac was the only one that had the problem. I ain't never had a problem. I didn't ever do that because I'll be like, well, if you didn't have a problem, why did you do this? Or why was you alone with it? This is how me and you met. I saw an interview or I saw a post that you put up, and I said, okay, that was fair. Or what you said about me and my boy Spider Loke. I mean, you threw some jabs at me. You threw some pictures up to make me look like I was disagreeing or try to throw your little tap at me. But then you also said, but I believe Reggie said it was or felt this way. So I believe when you go both ways, you don't have to just kiss a nigga ass to fuck with him. You know, don't do that. But just be objective. You be objective with me and say, well, this is what happened. This is what I feel. And I'm gonna respect you and I'll fuck with you. You don't have to agree with me to be cool with me. But don't just.
You're never gonna 100% agree with anybody, not even the woman that you're married to, right?
Oh man, we go through it. Exactly. But be able to talk about it and be able to say the good and the bad.
Right.
No, you say the good and the bad about me, I'll fuck with you. But just don't be one-sided on me.
Yeah, because I feel like even Napoleon, I mean, he's obviously a Muslim man now. He's grown and he's even admitted that, we look back at that stuff. It was wrong what we did.
It was stupid.
We was right, and this is the true facts, right? And he's asked Snoop multiple times, just admit and take responsibility and accountability for what you did.
That's the perfect statement for what I believe that Snoop is only doing wrong. Because Snoop was always, let me just say this, a cool, laid-back dude. He's just kind of rewriting history. Other than that, but as far as a talent, y'all always, I tell people all the time, y'all say you're full of shit, Reggie. How can you say that? But just because you're my favorite artist to go watch, don't mean I gotta agree with Kobe motherfucking Bryant. Still my favorite basketball player. If I think me and Kobe hanging out, I think I wouldn't like him personally. Think I would like Shaquille O'Neal personally over Kobe.
Right. Yeah, it's just about being an objective fan, right? People these days, they want you to be a stan. They want you to just like ignore all the bad things and just act like you don't see it. And like if you're a true fan of someone, then you just got to be riding with them completely on every single thing. And that's just not how it is, man.
Exactly. So that's my only problem. That's the only thing. I know it don't come across that way. I know people think I'm the biggest hater in the world, but trust me, that's not.
They look at it like you always go out of your way to get at him, right? You know?
He always make me have to correct his ass. He keeps saying shit. I got an interview up right now where it's just like, dog, what? You say Miss Dionne Ward taught you to be more respectful to black women. Nigga, since 1995, you done hang out with Bishop Don Juan, calling yourself a pimp. You done been on a song with 50 talking about you a pimp. You done did a song with Tupac saying every single video, you're a black hoe, you're a hoe, you did. Stop saying shit, because I'm going to call you on it. You wasn't feeling that way back then. You may feel this way now. You got 2 babies out there by different women other than your wife. Stop saying this shit and thinking I'm just going to let it slide.
So people feel like there are personas of rappers, right? Like Snoop and Dre aren't really about that life. It's just more like it's exaggerated. Some of the things that you said, it kind of makes it seem like Snoop and the Dog Pound specifically aren't really like that.
It comes with affiliation, I think, being around. The guys that they were around are like that. There's a dude, Big Flossie. There's a dude, even Nate Dogg was hard. Trey D and all of them. Those dudes was really like that. Big C style were really like that. Even Joe Cool, even though he had his demons, were really like that. And they were around them. And so I think you pick up on people for something. Suge Knight, fuck it, Suge Knight. He picked up and learned from those dudes he was around. And so you pick up their personas and stuff like that. So I won't take that away from them. I think that's why they do that. I'm just saying, be real, tell the truth. I don't have a problem with you living somebody's life, huh?
So do you think they really wouldn't be like that if they didn't have the muscle behind them?
Walk like a duck, crack like a duck. The people around them.
Okay, gotcha. When was the last time that you actually spoke to Snoop?
He on Master P on the phone after we slapped him at the Universal Amp. When they called him, and Master P called me. I'm like, Red, what's going on? Why you doing that? I said, nigga, because you keep dissing the homie while you're in jail. That was the last time he and I talked personally.
Are you against having him on Bomb First for an interview?
Oh, would love to. He would never do it.
Right.
Right now he's over there letting everybody go on my boy Art channel, Art the Dialogue channel. Shout out Art, great channel. He's over there on the phone with Art. Give him permission to do those. Well, let me say this: they could. I'm sorry.
Do you know of any time that he's responded to something that you said?
I don't follow. People say he does, but I never heard him say anything. He would never publicly disrespect me because, number one, he's smart. He knows that'll bring credibility to me. I get a lot of people be like, "Oh, Reg, why are you speaking on that? They're bringing credibility to that person." There's a fool out there that has nothing in the world to ever deal with Death Row or Tupac or anything. I get him 3,000 to 4,000 views just because I respond to his negative BS.
Oh, the groupie? Is that the one that you call the groupie?
He do other subjects and he don't hashtag Reggie Wright. He gets 700 views on it. But he get the Reggie Wright haters to come over here. And even the people that like me, they don't comment, but they'll go over there and listen to what he got to say.
Right.
And so just think if Snoop start going back and forth with me. I get 30 to 50,000 views on the Bomb First, on the average, get up 25 maybe. He starts speaking on me, and I start responding to him. I'll be like him. Everything he drops gets 1 million views. I'll be getting, at least 200,000-300,000. So it's not good business to reach back to people. You only reach up.
What did you think when Snoop came out like 4 years ago and said him and Suge squashed that beef?
That's the only reason I'll be tapping at him, because he's lying. He got on the phone with Suge and promised Suge some things, told him he was going to shoot some money, help him out, look out, and then after he got off the phone, he ghosted him.
Because they had taken a picture together, right? And he said...
That was in the club. That was in a nightclub.
He had captioned it, "Miss them Death Row days." Something like that.
Sound good, didn't it? Have you heard it?
The way that he described it was that Suge came up to him and said, "Hey, I just want to holler at you." And then he sent him up to his room alone, and it was just him. And they talked, and they said, "Well, why did you do this?" And
I'm sure it happened. I'm sure that happened.
Okay.
I'm sure that happened. I'm sure it was a little, I had soldiers that wanted to get him, and they were ready to move and all that. So now you're a shot caller, Snoop? Now you got niggas that gonna move for you like that? They gonna move just on a hand slap, a hand clap. Okay. And he might have believed that was in his mind, and niggas might have told him that was They would do that for him or like that. Who knows? But that's my point. If you're that way and you feel that way and you're putting it out there, why haven't you heard him reaching out? Why do she still kind of tap at him on interviews when he do from jail now? When he did stuff, why haven't you said, nigga? I just shot that nigga $5,000, or that nigga got 8 kids or whatever. I just looked out and did this for his kids, or looked out for him and his people. You don't hear his kids. You ask Lil Shug. Try to hit up Lil Shug. Hit him on IG and ask him. Have Snoop did anything for your father recently? As Snoop did that. For a nigga to save me from going to prison for the rest of my motherfucking life, it ain't nothing in the world other than spitting in my face or maybe fucking my woman because we good and tight and all of that you can do to make me be like, you know what, fuck you. Bygones be bygones, right? Ain't that the song?
Right. So to your knowledge, when was the last time that Dre and Suge actually spoke?
Dre's a little different. Dre, I get. We did a lot of bad things. I get Snoop, to be honest, but Dre don't go out and try to make it seem like we all good and cool. So that's why I don't talk bad about Dre. Dre be like, hey, nigga, I left you the company. I left. I got away. I did this, nigga, fuck you. I get it. If Snoop would take that position, I would get it. But don't double talk. Don't say this and let people believe this when it's really that.
So because Snoop is trying to change the narrative of things, he's trying to control it.
And I just respond to it. I don't hate or dislike Snoop or anything like that. I just speak my truth. When she'll say bullshit, I'll speak and be like, I don't know, this shit right now about Keith Murray saying she'll slap the shit out of Puffy.
Man, how you gonna know my next question already? That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, come on, y'all. She'll bragged about having his son, taking a picture with a necklace. If he has publicly slapped the shit out of that motherfucker, then we would have been bragging about that. That's this shit. We would have been to her. This happened allegedly, supposedly, in 1995. She's gonna stay quiet about that for 25 years. Suge Knight? The Suge y'all know ain't gonna never ever in life mention that. Okay. All right.
So do you understand why Dre decided to leave Death Row? Do you think that he made the right decision?
Ultimately, and at the beginning, he had a rough 3 or 4 years with the firm and all of that. He was scared. He don't care and say, But yeah, sometimes you just grow up. Dre was on house arrest and he had a new wife. He wanted to settle down. Somebody tapped Dre on his shoulder and said, hey, give it all up. I got you. This man walked away from a company that was valued at $150 million at the time, and they said, bye. Here, you have it. You take it. That's an intervention. That's something where somebody talks to you and tell you, I got you. You're going to be all right. You're going to still be able to take care of your kids and family. Or in his case, your mother and your family and yourself, because he don't take care of his kids. But, somebody touched him and said, hey, we got you. And shout out Dre. Dre just keeping it moving. Dre did what he had to do and keeping it moving.
In your opinion, why was Dre and Suge never able to squash that beef?
A bitch.
Michelle A?
Come on. Fuck on my woman. I told you those two things you can't do to me. Fuck on my woman. I don't care if I love her, like her, or whatever. That's my woman. That's somebody I got a baby by. You my homeboy. You my partner. You my business partner. You ain't supposed to fuck your man's woman at no time.
That happened while he was still at Death Row.
Exactly.
And did Suge do that to spite Dre?
Fell in love with Michelle A. He really loved Michelle A. He fell in love with Michelle A. Can't say nothing bad about her. personally and all of that because he really, really did fall in love with Russia.
Did you watch that documentary or kind of movie that she did after Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah, I call Cap on it a little bit because I know how she was and I know how she was still loving him and all of that. But yeah, niggas was putting their hands on women back then. Not probably not as bad as she made it sound and all of that, but I'm sure she done been slapped before. She was an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic at the time. They both was doing things tough then, going hard, living that life and all that. So she done got slapped. But to the point where she was fearful or anything like that, I don't I don't buy that.
Do you foresee there being a Suge Knight biopic or a Death Row biopic? Because I know a lot of people were disappointed in the Tupac one.
Yeah, it's gonna be one. That's why I always say, don't run the shit too soon. I'll be advising people not to do it because he'll still be clowning folks. But once he get a little older and he settle down and he really, really, really needs money, where so he can look good, not right now. Shit, all that nigga needs is about $500 a month and he good. But when you out there on the streets and you got to make shit happen, you'll be like, okay, let me play ball right. Let me make this money. I got a chance to make some money. My name is clear. I don't owe nobody no money. I went through this bankruptcy. They done cleared up everything. Let me get 15, $20 million and I'm good. I'll play ball right and do the right thing. Cause all I need is 15, 20 million. That's all he need when he come home and he'll be all right. And he ain't gonna have no generation of money like others. Where you can just leave it for other people and all of that. But Suge Knight name still worth 15 to $20 million. A book deal, uh, a buy-op or something where he can go and come home and live comfortably for his glory days.
How old is he going to be when he finally gets to come home?
If it goes the way the state was projecting it to go now, he'll be 70. Uh, but hopefully, you get crazy. I done found out you get a crazy governor in, or you get some crazy laws that come on, or some shit like that happen again. When they be letting motherfuckers out, they start being like, he'll be in jails or something. I ain't gonna say 2034, but the path that is on right now is 2034. But shit, that taught me. I done seen a whole bunch of niggas coming on. And I was like, hey, that nigga ain't never seen the streets. And they out here like, what? What?
So what year was it that Whack 100 started coming around Death Row?
Well, he was around in 2001, 2002, doing what the Proclaimer dudes was doing with me, going to different award shows and going to events representing Death Row. But hanging around still on a daily basis, I was gone. And so that's probably 2004, 2005 during that time. He was there when Chill got violated, and so that would have been 2004 because him and Pooh Rider was at the location when Chill assaulted the valet guy allegedly. Um, and so that was 2004. So he was around 2004, but he's been around 2001. But I'm the one that introduced Sugar and Whack, and Sugar didn't come home until January of 2001. And so he didn't meet anyone at Death Row, or Suge at least, until between 2001 2002.
And how did you know Whack?
Through Pooh Rider, is one of his homeboy from Two Ps. Suge and Pooh Rider relationship was developed in prison because of that P card that read, the Pyru stuff. And he got out. Suge liked him. Suge sent him on to me, told me, hey, here's a dude. He's a writer. That's why we call him Pooh Rider. Rider. And you know, use him.
Whack became Suge's driver?
No, that's that. No. He just niggas that hung with him. They called him the driver because they got him into some cars with him and all that. And he's a truck driver. Wack is actually a businessman, uh, more than any of us that was pretty much around because he had his own business prior to coming. Well, most of the dudes coming up there for a check or a handout or something like that. Wack was coming just to be around or learn the business. Who knows what his motive was? But Wack had a business making. Wack pulled up in there in Mercedes Benz and had a tractor truck at home and had a job and was working. So Wack wasn't a follower at all.
So you've known him for a long time. Is the Wack that we hear and see online the real Wack, or is it more of a persona? Because you know he all over Clubhouse with tons of stories, man.
Well, he's out there now. The one thing I like about the story, they be about these young motherfuckers that I don't know about. And y'all know I don't touch on them because I don't know the youngsters. That's why everybody's like, oh, this nigga talking about the late 90s. Get out of there. That's all I know is the 90s. I wasn't out there. I ain't been out in the club since 2008, 2009, to be honest. And so I don't know these dudes. But Wax out there, and so he knows them. So he speaks on those things. I can't say if they false fairy tales or what, because I'm not out there. Y'all tell me right now, ask me, who's the hottest rapper out there? I'll be like, oh, no, I guess Drake. Y'all be like, nigga, that's 2012. That's 2011. This NBA young boy or this person or, I don't know. I can't tell you a song, NBA young boy. I hear he's the hottest one out there right now. I can tell you a song right now. I can tell you one of his lyrics right now.
The way he acts on Clubhouse, is that the way you know him to be in real life?
Oh. Well, okay. He's always he's a loud talker. Most short guys are loud talkers and talk loud, right? He's a G. He ain't never been no buster. He ain't never been scared. None of those Pacoima dudes are like that because they always was a smaller offset gang, not in Compton or LA and all of that. And so when you like that and you go to the same penitentiaries and the county jails, you got to be a little harder or a little more outspoken and all of that. Because y'all know the short man in the room, y'all know all the stereotypes and all of that that's out there. And so I think that's what that particular gang plays into because they're smaller, they're in the valley, and so they get, the Rodney Dangerfield, no respect type scenarios. So I think so that's why he's a little louder than most. But all the guys not like that from Pacoima though, because my boy Rambo, he's real humbled and quiet and all that. I'm just speaking on as a whole, to why Pacoima people always say, nigga, you from the valley, you just, why they kind of get disrespected. But why, it's hard to say if it's an act or what, because the nigga is a loudmouth, he's a talker. I think a lot of it, he knows how to work the YouTube or social media. So to say that a lot of the stuff he's saying that he believes, I probably would say call cap on that. Nah, nigga, you don't believe that. You just said that because you knew that was going to draw some attention.
Yeah, I feel like he knows how to be entertaining, right?
That's the word.
I mean, you got tons of YouTube channels that are just dedicated to putting up things that he says, and people love to listen to it. And I don't know why he doesn't monetize it. I guess he's just getting money from other places.
He don't even care. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He ain't making nothing off of Clubhouse.
Because a lot of times I'm like, how does he have so much time? He's on Clubhouse all the time. Like,
Well, a lot of times they say his name and he be in and out. And and a lot of those things, because they go 3-4 hours.
Right.
And he probably on there talking 30 minutes. Now, he may have it on mute and listening or whatever, but he doesn't always be interacting. And so, but if you get 3-4 hours a day, you can sit around and do that shit for 3 or 4 hours a day. You can dedicate 3 or 4 hours to doing stuff like that. His money is being made now from making deals. It don't take long to say, I got this person. Let me see if I can make this happen. It don't take long. All right, shoot the paperwork over to the attorney, and we'll see. This is how much it's going to cost to make it happen, and we'll get them there. Where his work is pretty much done is making sure no motherfuckers show up and get to the vineyard. That's where he gonna make his money. He got to make sure he ain't in the studio telling the gang, no, nigga, you need to rap like this, or you need to do it like this. This thing is, nigga, we need to be at such and such location, at such and such time. This is our flights. This is our information. and this is how we're gonna get there, and this is how much we're gonna get when we leave. Don't go on the stage. Don't go on the stage until I tell you I got it from the promoters. That's all his job is. So how much time do it take to do that?
He's organizing things.
He's organized, so it don't take much. And his wife does most of that. And so, as far as the business side, the making sure the money, the count, and all of that is right when they go to the venue.
So you have a relationship with Wack. Do you have a relationship with his artist, The Game?
No. I mean, I had Reggie before Wack did.
Right.
I don't know The Game like that. I know his mom. I grew up in Compton with his mom, and we know of each other and all of that. But I never had any dealings with The Game, no.
So he's addressed Suge multiple times. Do you know how that beef started?
Just that blood thing, that Paru thing and that blood thing. It started happening, with homies and things that be going on in that situation. And maybe if I took a side, Suge was speaking mainly high on Lil Wayne at one time when they both were high. Lil Wayne in The Game was high at the time, and he was giving Lil Wayne a more the credibility as being, a red card power rule and all that. Could have been behind that. Could have been that The Game was over there fucking with Dre and them at the time, and through that beef. But I can't think of anything specifically that was ever said or done between The Game and Suge. But that's where, if I would generate, I would think it's just behind some red card thing or, some Compton thing, or mainly the people in your entourages and homies, or mainly, maybe discrediting something he was doing, as a pyro or something like that.
And so The Game tells this story that Suge rolled up on him after the Vibe Awards with 60 gangsters pressing him about some things he said in his songs, and Game pulled a gun on him. Do you know if that is true or that actually happened?
So 60 niggas gonna scare one nigga with a gun now? So all those 60 niggas, not one of them had a gun? Okay.
You never had a conversation with Suge about something like that? Nah.
I never. I'm sure they had probably a standoff or a conversation, but it probably didn't go like, it wasn't made out like it may have got, as the stuff gets second or third hand, where niggas was scared and niggas was this or that. Suge ain't never. If Suge was scared, he ain't gonna never let you see him scared. Right. I told y'all a story earlier in this interview. This nigga got knocked out, had a big old knot in the back of his head, big as a fucking baseball, and he's still walking around like nothing happened. So even if he was a little scared, he ain't gonna let you see it or know it.
So Wack spoke about this incident where Cuban Link, right, former Terror Squad, came to the West Coast and asked Suge or Death Row for protection. Cuban has denied it, but Wack said that's how he met Cuban. Do you remember that?
I don't know of that because, like I said, I wasn't around them then. But I know this. Big U from 60 Crips and Suge Knight, niggas that's where that check-in term shit started back in like 2008, 2007, 2009. T.I., Ludacris, all those niggas was paying those niggas to negotiate stuff that was happening on the West Coast.
They was paying for protection while they were here?
Or to check in, or to letting you know, or to saying that I'm having a problem with this dude or this person. Can y'all, make sure it go away? I remember a major thing with Ludacris and T.I. that was going on back in, like, I was in the truck with Suge, and we saw Ludacris walking around, and Suge was like, look at that scary motherfucker walking right there. He was like, yeah, I just had to make sure it was cool for him to be walking around because I had to get some shit between him and T.I. So shit like that was going down, and those niggas were breaking those two niggas off.
So it was the beef between each other, or it was preventing some street dudes from robbing them while they were here on the West Coast?
Both. But mainly, they be having, everybody get up under somebody. You can name me an artist and I can tell you who they was up under. That's generally because they got a connection, or drug connection, a cousin or something like that from those particular gang areas. The Great Streets had dudes that was up under them. The Bunny Hunters had dudes that was up under them. Uh, Term had dudes, still basketball dudes like Baron Davis and Harden and all of them that was up under them. And so, Cash Money was running around with niggas from the Bunny Hunters and stuff like that. So everybody had dudes that they were cool with that was up under them. Even Rich Quan, he was fucking with the Gray Streets real tough. And that dude with the two phone dudes, I remember he was hanging out with the Gray Street dudes real tough. So I'm saying that to say everybody got somebody they get up on. 60 cars is big in LA. I done been in clubs with those niggas where I was with Key Rock and stuff, and they didn't even know each other was from another set of the 60s. And so they always in the clubs. The 60 is big in the nightclub scenes out here. And the Southside Crips used to be as well out here. So everybody, have people that they got up under and stuff like that. Not one of those particular gangs are terrified of each other. The Crips, when they see the Power Rules, they ain't scared of them. And vice versa, when the Power Rules see Crips, they ain't scared of them. But generally, it's just like, what's the beef is for? Niggas ain't just shooting each other just because there's a problem, just because you wearing red or you wearing blue. No, that nigga with us, and he all right here. Y'all stay over there, we stay over here. Type of scenario.
So you don't remember hearing about any situation about Cuban Link asking for protection or anything like that?
No. I'm not saying it. I'm not confirming it or denying it, but I don't know of it. But I know that the guys were paying to come out here. And if you're talking about 2008, 2009, trust me, whether they did or didn't, they got talked to about it. Because they were circling clubs. Big Hugh and Suge had crews circling clubs for it. And now you got a red car and a blue car. So you ain't had nowhere to really to run to.
What about the situation that Eminem was getting extorted and he had to run to the Booyah Tribe? Do you know about that?
Never heard it, but the Booyah Tribe was cool with Suge. They were always cool with the Power Rules, and they were coming with Suge and all of that, but they were cool. Monster and all of them. Shout out Monster, rest in peace, Monster. But they were cool. They were fucking with, we got some songs with them, but they were real tough when Suge first came on. 2002, 2003, 2001, they were tough with Suge.
Because they said that instead of asking for money, they asked for that Eminem feature, and that's how he paid it.
I'm sure just to go and to hang out. I'm sure that's how it went down. Everybody be cool with each other. But yeah, it's not about that you getting pushed up on or anything like that. It's just about being safe to have numbers. I tell people all the time, when you go to somebody else's hood, you better have somebody else from, I don't care how tough you are. If you go to Utah, it's a white motherfucker in Utah that's a killer that you and you ain't gonna see coming. You might not even know who he is. So the reason why you better have somebody from that town with you.
So at the 1999 Source Awards, Death Row approached Eminem, right? And they were going to beat him down until you intervened and said to kick back that he had nothing to do with it. Suge was in jail at the time. Did Suge personally call and say to go after Eminem because of his affiliation with Dre?
It wasn't even about them. It was just about the Source Awards. Y'all niggas gonna be out here. Y'all go represent. You go to a war show. How you gonna go to a war show, be in LA and nobody from LA there? Or performing or anything. Y'all go there and represent. Let them know LA stand up. They in LA. Y'all go there, be seen, be known. But it wasn't about a beef. It wasn't even about a beef about Dre or anything. It was just go there. Now they saw him and they knew it was a problem. But there was this dude named Dean that was an M assistant that was, actually it was Jimmy Iovine's assistant, but he was with him. And Dean looked at me like, Reggie, what's going on? Like, what? And I was like, no, we can't do a Dean here. If he was by himself, just him and his bodyguard, it might have been some problems, but it was Dean. And Suge ain't never really had no problems with him, to be honest. Suge always liked him, to be honest. He always said he was a funny guy. And so he always kind of liked him, to be honest.
What was Eminem's reaction when he got approached by all them dudes?
He was just looking. He didn't say nothing. It wasn't like he was scared or shaking or nothing, but he was just like, "What's up?" But Dean jumped in the middle. And they saw me, and once Dean knew, he saw Reggie. He knew it would be all good. Cause Dean, they knew that I was normally a peacemaker, but the more importantly, Dean know that I needed him. But that was my key to get to Jimmy whenever I needed to.
So did he look relieved when you called them off?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, they would. Yeah, they would left us sit down. Shit, hell yeah. Yeah, you got, but I don't care. Shit, if it would have been 20 of M people around me, I would have been like, "What the fuck?" I might have acted a little tougher, and try to talk my way out of it. But shit, deep down inside, okay, you see 10. It wasn't that many guys. It was 10 or 20 of us sitting in the auditorium, but it was probably only Pooh Ryder was definitely one of them. It was only about 3 or 4 of them that jumped around and had him was about to do something bad to him.
Gotcha.
But fortunately, they were listening to me.
So he didn't say anything. He just walked off.
Yeah, they just kept walking. I told them, go, they good, they are. They just kept walking down the aisle.
So you also tell this story of when you guys were on the same flight as Eminem, Snoop, and Dre, right, going to Hawaii. But there were multiple planes and everyone was split up. Which flight were you on specifically and you saw things happening?
Well, the one when the Hawaii police came, that was Snoop and them. That wasn't M. M was on the flight going back to L.A. See, I don't know what the bodyguard talking about. I don't remember M being with Snoop and them. The one with Snoop and them was getting terrorized and Battle Cat and all of them. That was on the way out. M was on the flight on the way back to L.A. with us. He got on that flight on the way home. So those are two.
You remember being on the flight to Hawaii with Snoop.
That's when Pooh Ryder spit on him. He got spit on and everything on that one. Those niggas got drunk. They just gave us seats all over the place. So some of those niggas had first class tickets, and in first class, well, how they treat you. Especially a flight to Hawaii. You ever been back in the 90s on a plane going to Hawaii? Man, they had upstairs, downstairs. They treated you good in first class. But so those niggas were drinking. They was up there getting drinks, taking them back, bringing them to the niggas that got seats in the coach. And that's what Snoop took. Snoop gave up his seat in first class and was just sitting around his crew on the in coach. And all that whole flight, they would get terrorized. They would get terrorized.
So Dre wasn't on the flight?
He wasn't on the flight. I ain't seen Dre yet. Yeah.
So was the Dog Pound there?
Who?
The Dog Pound.
I think Nate Dogg was definitely there, but Nate ain't never been no pump. I believe Nate was there. Daz was still back and forth with us. Daz wasn't being cool with them at the time, so Daz wasn't there. But no Battle Cat was there. Trey D wasn't there. Big C Style actually was with us. And Big C Style was actually with us. Fabian came later. Huh?
What about Corrupt?
Corrupt was back in Philly then. But Corrupt was back running around with Foxy Brown. He was doing his own thing with Antron Records there. AM, Antron and AM, what was A&M? So Antron, no, Corrupt wasn't around him then either.
So what is Snoop's reaction the entire time when he's getting fucked with on the plane?
He just had a hoodie on or like a coat and just had his head bent down and just had the coat over his head.
So no gangsta Snoop.
Oh no. Never. Snoop only acts gangster around us, especially going back and forth with us, that one time. One time he really did act like that. And that was at the Universal Amp when he got slapped.
Was the intention always to do whatever to fuck with Dre and his artists just because of the old beef between him and Suge?
On some things, to make them uncomfortable. On some things, like what happened was the radio station Power 106 was given a big, exclusive for their listeners. Well, for like months, they were like, you called in the radio station, won tickets to Hawaii. and they were paying for everybody to go to Hawaii and go to perform. So it was a big thing in LA. Those were mainly just LA people or power radio station people that was at the concert. It was a private concert in Hawaii for them. So it was a great promotion that Interscope and Power 106 did together. But they were blowing up, and we were looking like suckers now. They had the up and smoke tour going on, and all those different things, and so they were back blowing up. So I guess it was some hatred, it was some jealousy that was going on.
Do you think that you guys spent too much time going after Dre versus like really focusing on Death Row?
Didn't have nobody really. Didn't really have nobody to do anyway, so had to try to keep the name alive because it was like it was dead. So I think that's what kept the name. It had people hate you because, like I said, we was in different times now. See, now that should be rah rah. Oh yeah, they gangster. Everybody loving it. In 2000, 2001, and all of that, after 9/11, well, it was really before 9/11. But people were in different mindsets. Remember, the world was supposed to end.
Right.
We was having
Y2K.
Y2K and all that bullshit. So it was just different times. Tupac had got killed. Biggie had got killed. So people were just in different mindsets. That gangster shit. They came out with terrorist threat laws. You remember, you used to call somebody, nigga, I don't kill you, I don't do this and all that. Back in the 90s, you could make all those threats and shit couldn't happen to you. Go and say that shit right now today.
Right.
Or in 2000. Your ass have a $100,000 bail and be in jail with a felony. So, times are just different.
But to be fair, you guys were blackballed at that time too, right?
Yeah, that's what we call it. So I'm gonna say now, motherfuckers, y'all doesn't have no hits. But people weren't liking us. You gotta remember the state, the mama came out, people weren't believing that we had ripped Tupac off.
Yeah.
People still back then believed Suge and I had something to do with the murder of Tupac. For greed and all of that, which is, yeah. So you had all of those different theories out there. So I get it. I ain't mad with what people was thinking. But it was just all about the time frame at the time. People got to understand how people's mindsets were then,
Do you hold Tupac's bodyguard, Frank Alexander, responsible to a certain extent?
Just for not notifying me or notifying us what had happened. Just to say, hey. Because I know those niggas, they was looking like, they didn't, nobody expect, I probably, you know what? I probably would, after hearing about what had happened, probably been like, all right, who's all with y'all? Y'all got like 10 or 15 dudes with y'all? 10 or 15 homies with y'all? All right, y'all good. Just get to the club. We'll be on the lookout at the club. Probably would have been my reaction. I hope it wouldn't have now knowing what happened. But I'll be honest, nothing probably would have got done. Because he would have told me, well, Buntry, Trayvon, Neckbone, K-Dub, this dude, that dude is with us. They here. Oh, shit. Those niggas, those really the killers, right? Allegedly.
Right.
Those really the gangsters, I'd rather for them to be the ones getting into some shit than the police, some security guards. Y'all just supposed to be there to go in court to testify. That's all death row. I didn't hire mercenaries. Motherfucker that was military killers and CIA agents. I was there for people that supposedly wasn't scared to get in court and go and testify to what happened. Because what? Suge, Trayvon, Buntry, and them can't go to no court of law and testify. Even if they wanted to. Their politics and the gang stuff that they involved in, you can't do it.
Right. And so if Frank Alexander had his gun with him, do you think things would have been different?
They would have ducked and they would have took off just like they did. When those shots went off. Niggas did do what they supposed to do. That's what most people forget and leave out. They chased that car down and shot up KPD in them car. KPD and them tell you. And in the police report, a car that was in between them, window got shot out. What did that tell you? That somebody was shooting and somebody was shooting back at that car. Keefe D and them just didn't shoot at Tupac car. They shot back and shot the windshield of that van out. There's a van that reported whose windshield was shot out on a different street. So that's the. Go ahead. Huh?
Do you have a relationship with Keefe D?
I know him from being on the streets and from this YouTube stuff and all of that stuff, but I'm not cool with him. I don't hate him. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. They did what they were supposed to do. That's what they were supposed to do. Being in that gang element. I hate how they get up there and talk and, make a clown or a mockery out of it. But other than that, hey, the nigga shot at us and we retaliated. How can you be mad at that?
So it was you think it's kind of like a clout move, the way that he's been on the internet for the past few years, really just talking about it.
And putting it out, laughing about it and making a joke about it. It's like, okay, nigga, hey, all thing he had to do is like, hey, it is what it is. Yeah. They said they did what? They said we did what? Oh, okay. That makes sense to me.
But at the same time, the way they retaliated on Tupac was essentially what they were supposed to do when you're talking about gang stuff.
The mentality.
So in late 2002, 50, M, and Dre are filming the In the Club music video, right? And Suge shows up. People say...
You listen to Cam Capone too. You listen to Cam Capone station's channel too much. Well, go ahead. You listen to Spider Logan and Cam Capone's channel way too much. But go ahead.
This is a story that's been out there a lot. Like a lot of people talk about this. And were you there when it happened, or do you know exactly what happened?
I only get it. I get it from Spider. I called Spider right before the interview, and Spider kind of confirmed that he got mad when I said that that's why I think he got a deal with G Unit. Which I get.
This was prior to Spider though. This was 2002.
You talking about the In the Club one? You talking about with the Mexicans? See, I always get the two different. It's two incidents. There's one time when Spider gives them a telephone, and that's when they pulling up on 50.
Right.
Now, are you talking about the 50 one or are you talking about the M one? Because
I'm talking about the In the Club music video where Suge shows up with like 30 Mexicans, and this is right when 50 is about to pop, right? They said that M came out with a bulletproof vest on, and a former G-Unit affiliate, Bang'em Smurf, said that Dre ran and 50 was hiding. But Bizarre D12 said that 50 came out and was like, what you want to do? And Suge is there puffing his cigar, and next thing you know, he just signals, and then they leave.
Okay. And that's one version. The version I get from Spider is...
That one happened later on with Spider. That incident where...
Okay.
I think what he's talking about is like where they're at a video shoot and Suge shows up, has some guy sent there, right? And then Spider's like, yo, you need to take this phone call.
Yeah. See, those are two incidents. Okay. So the one with him and all of that, I don't know about. I only know about the one on Spider one. Yeah. So the one I always be responding to when I be saying would be the one about the Spider one. That's the one I be meaning to respond to. And I only get that from Spider.
So you don't know what happened at the In the Club one, but do you think that that's something that Suge would have done, just walk off like that?
Yeah, because he's smart enough to know that that ain't a place to make some shit go down. You know, to make a big shooting go down and stuff like that. And if they came back like that, but I don't think the Mexicans would have let it ride like that though. Because they got their own shot callers and their own codes. And 18th Street, they don't give a fuck. They'll shoot you up and go, and then the one that did it, they're going to take the case. He be gone across the border and gone for a little while. So, wow.
Did Suge have a lot of connections with Mexican gangs?
He was running with some dudes. Forget the rapper that he was about to fuck with.
Mr.
But
Capone?
He had a dude that was, Who was it? Capone? Capone?
Yeah. Is that who?
I think it was Capone.
Yeah.
It was one of those dudes from 18th Street he was fucking with at the time. And he was fucking with a couple of their shot callers at the time. So yeah, he had a relationship with them.
So what about the story with that Spider is talking about? Do you know about, you said you know about that one?
Only from Spider. Just that he went and he gave him the phone and 50 just walked off.
Mm.
You know, like he had an important phone call to take. And he put the phone up and walked off and got away. Never came back.
And so for that situation, it was, you think it was Suge on the phone telling the guys to just back off because Spider intervened and was like, yo, I need you to take care of this?
Just because they didn't realize what was happening, just because he just walked off. They couldn't push up on him. They figured he'd come back, or they was just waiting. He never came back, or they didn't know how to deal with it. You know, because they were just really probably trying to get a feature or get something from him, or trying to do that push up shit that I was telling you, that extorting shit. And I don't think it was because they didn't want no beef with, the 118s or Spider or anything. But that's probably why they didn't say, no, nigga, you stay right here. You take this phone call. I mean, fuck that phone or whatever. Because they had respect for Spider. I think, they just, they probably was lost their words or didn't really know what to do. But I do really believe, like Spider said, that saved him. That that made him get away, get out of that element or that situation.
Oh, so it was actually that 50 took the phone call. It wasn't that Spider gave the phone to the dudes that showed up.
No, he gave it to 50. And 50 took it like he had an important phone call to take.
I always thought that it was like Spider called up Suge because of his connections or something like that. And he gave the phone to the guys to have Suge call them off or something.
No, he gave it to 50.
Oh, okay.
That's how I heard it. How Spider explained it to me.
Gotcha. So are you familiar with the incident that Russell Simmons spoke about, where Suge showed up to the video of 50's hoping to extort him, and then Suge had a gun on his lap with like 4 other guys?
I think that's the same incident though. With the one with him. The one with him.
Because the way that he explains it, Russell Simmons says that 50 laughs seeing the gun and he runs to his trailer and gets a Uzi and then chases Suge off with the guys into a car.
Yeah, I think that's Russell hearing that story about the M story and then putting that out there is what I really believe. You know how shit gets second and third hand?
Right.
Because that shit ain't happened no 3 times,
Oh, so you don't think it happened 3 times?
I think it was the one with the M story.
Because
and how shit just got.
He's explaining it like this is different from the in the club situation, and he was actually there seeing it.
Okay. I don't know if 3 different. That means that 58 and them got pushed up on 4, 5 times. Because I know one time in the car where she was supposed to pull it up to 50, and then he supposed to jet it out when he was in the Bentley. He had a powder blue Bentley that he was riding around in LA with. Then we would have been talking about the one with him. Then we would have been talking about the incident at the award show. I mean, how many more?
Yeah.
I that's 5 times.
Can you talk about the Bentley situation?
Well, that was just something where Suge was supposed to saw him in some traffic with a Bentley, and 50 was supposed to have a gun sitting on his lap, and then Suge and them pulled off at a light or something like that.
So 50 flashed a gun at them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or let it be known that he had one.
And you know this from being told by Suge, or?
Suge told me about that incident. That's the only one I heard about, the Bentley incident.
Wow. So Suge knew that 50 was really about that life. It wasn't just rap.
Yeah. I don't remember Suge really having no major problems with 50. Other than, like I said, they were really trying to make niggas pay.
Yeah, because Shaw Money XL, right, the producer for G-Unit and president of G-Unit Records at one time, he did this interview where he said that Suge was always calling up there, trying to intimidate them.
Sure. That's what they would get down. And after took the money and put him in bankruptcy. That was his get down. There's many stories where I mean I done did it to L.A. Reid, to Babyface, to who else? Babyface, L.A. Reid, QD3. This Kevin Black. I mean,
Damn.
there's been several people that done got pushed up for money during those times.
So just trying to shake people down.
Akon, the Akon incident. That was just to get down there.
Do you remember any other incidents with Dre?
Uh, just me and one of his lady friends going into his house when he had it up for sale, and we booked you know to view the house with a real estate agent and all that, terrified him and his wife, stuff like that, but nothing where it was like physical or no gunplay or anything like that, other than the time at the war show.
Wait, so Dre is selling his house and you guys show up there with a real estate agent? Suge's there?
No, Suge was in jail then. But he know when he saw me and the young lady, he knew that's where that was a threat from Suge to saying, all right, nigga, we know where you living at. We know we can get to you. That was just a subliminal threat.
It's just you and a young lady, or you with a team of people?
This is me and a young lady. And then the dude Bob Gotti that always drove me around, he was like the driver. But he probably stayed in the car. He probably didn't get out. Because we were just going and looking like we was trying to look, to buy the house. But once he saw us,
What was Dre's reaction when he saw you?
It was really his wife. We just left our death row. I left my death row business card there and told them. Then they caught the hand. Just little subliminals like that we used to do.
Gotcha. So you didn't see Dre, you saw his wife.
No, his wife was at the house.
And you left your death row card?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's a little bullshit like that though. That's what I always tell you. I get why Dre is like, fuck you. But he don't try to act like he cool,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And like I said, all of this stuff now is childish. I know people are like, oh, that was stupid, that was childish. We got it. You gotta remember, we 28, 29 years old, and that was the 90s. That's how you intimidated people. That's how you scared people back then. That was our tactics back in the 90s.
Right.
Intimidation. Now you do shit like that, you will get a case on you. So don't.
For sure.
I'm telling you, don't.
So do you remember the incident at the Vibe Awards where Dre, was it Vibe Awards or Source Awards?
It was a Vibe, what was the Lifetime Achievement Award, but it was the Vibe Awards, but it went down, it went way down. It was just done in like a small vineyard, it was done at the museum in Santa Monica. And it wasn't on the scale that the war shows that you would think of, how they were, the Soul Train and the Source and all of that. But yeah, it was the Vibe Music Awards. And
so the guy is hired by Suge to punch Dre.
Well, he was there. Hired is a bad word. Because niggas ain't like they getting paid or something like that. You just get to go. It's like, we call them entourage. They were just in the entourage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were there to, you can't go nowhere one or two deep.
Right.
So you go there a little deep. You ain't necessarily going there, let's go there to beat up this person or do that. You just go in there, if some shit jump down, you with me.
Right.
And so apparently they went there, some shit jumped down, and Young Buck, niggas from the South and the East Coast, they know how to work on knives.
What year is this? I think it was 2004 that this happened.
Something like that. It was the Quincy Jones. It was when Dre he was being honored by Vibe for, I think, for some type of Lifetime Achievement Award that Quincy Jones was giving him.
And you were with Death Row at this time?
I wasn't with them. I wasn't with them.
Oh, you weren't with Death Row at this time. And so who thought it was a good idea to have Dre and Suge together at the same award show.
Yeah, well, it was kind of hard place because Quincy Jones was cool with Suge,
Mm.
and and it's L.A. and it's kind of a hard thing to say. You can't. Don Cornelius did it. That's why that incident happened at the Soul Train Awards, where even Don Cornelius was like, he tried to be the best politician he could. Well, I don't let Biggie perform, but I'm gonna give Tupac the Artist of the Year. So they be trying to, they be trying to be smart because everything about ratings. Me and you on here trying to do the best we can with this show to get views and get ratings, and so that's what they be trying to do. And you try to get the show and get the ratings and get the advertisement and get the money and all of that. And so that was the ultimate deal, but it was hard to pick one against the other when you got relationships with people,
Yeah,
or had past relationships with them. And so I'm sure Quincy Jones was put in a bad situation. Sure, he wished he wouldn't have did it because it wasn't worth it. But what other vibe show are we still talking about in 2023, really, other than when Biggie got killed or that particular vibe show?
and so the legend goes that 50 sees Suge, and then he tells his manager at the time to go to the hardware store and buy 20 knives, right? Did you actually talk to Suge about the situation after it happened?
Nah, you don't talk about shit like that with niggas after shit like that happen because they be like, nigga, what you wired for sound or something? Yeah, what the fuck, nigga? I don't know what happened, shit. What you asking me about that shit for, nigga?
Yeah.
That's what you can't go up and ask people, but y'all gotta learn, youngsters. Don't go talking about people that say, oh yeah, I heard that, I heard about that. That's all you said. You start going in deep because then when niggas get in trouble, they be like, man, that nigga Reg is the one that set me up.
Right. They're like, oh, I got arrested right after you asked me this question. So were you wearing a wire?
Yeah, nigga use wire for sale, nigga.
So you've been in the industry for a long time, and one of the other names that really rings out that is kind of taboo, like Suge, is Jimmy Henchman. Did you have a relationship with Jimmy?
No, fortunately not. No incidents with Jimmy. I know of him, know of his reputation and all of that, but never no face offs or anything with Big Jimmy. Wax said he did for Suge when he was dealing with Suge, but I didn't. Jimmy's name wasn't that big in the '90s, like that. He was trying to come up. That's why he allegedly did what he did to Pac.
And what you're talking about is the Quad Studio shooting.
Yeah, okay. Mainly was to teach Puff a lesson, not so much to to get at Pac, just to show Puff and Big how tough of a dude he is and what he can make happen. And Pac just had to be the casualty. Huh?
Why do you think that it was to show Puff instead of Tupac?
For intimidation factor, saying you need to be with me, you need to be fucking with me, or you need me on your team, or whatever. You need to be looking out for me, making me happy, making me, I need to be managing your people or whatever.
Because it's kind of weird that, like, people say that when they go into his office back then, there was this big picture of Tupac, right? So, like, it was kind of like he really respected Pac or liked Pac, but at the same time, if he's responsible for getting Pac shot, it's like the contradiction there, right?
Yeah, sometimes your heroes can disappoint you, especially if you thump your nose at me. Be like, oh, it was a show. It was a show I was watching recently. It was a TV show where the dude looked up to this guy. That was the show with Jamie Foxx, right? Not Jamie Foxx, with oh shit, the one with Kevin Hart, and it was on Netflix recently, where Wesley Snipes was the butler. You remember?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I haven't watched it.
And the dude looked up to Kevin Hart like a mug, and when once he turned on him and he treated him like a sucker, then he was his worst enemy. So that's what happens sometimes It's a thin line, right? And they say a thin line between love and hate. And so
with Jimmy, his name was attached to a lot of things, throughout, right? Like
he had Brandy, the game, and all of them back in the day.
yeah, but then like eventually he was tied to a lot of street stuff still, with obviously you talked about the Tupac thing, and then Tony Yayo and stuff has spoken about some of those shootings that happened allegedly, and you spoke about, I think, in this video about Jimmy Henchman getting that Suge Knight.
He did. He did. Well, I didn't. I told you what Wax said.
Right.
I think Wax is the one that told you. I think I told Wax the one. But I'll tell you how much juice Jimmy still has to this day. Tell you our story. When I was in the feds, some dude that was in the feds with them, this dude that was a snitch, a mafia snitch, I think it was Whitey Bulger or something like that. He got shipped to the prison where Jimmy kind of runs in West Virginia. If you know anything about prisons, it's all about races. The whites run the whites, the black runs the blacks. The Mexicans, they got like three sets. You got what they call the paisas or the paisas. Then they have the 13, the northerners, the southerners, and the border brothers. So they got different Mexicans. Then you got of course, the islanders is what they call all the different other nationalities. And so they all kind of click and police each other. They send Whitey Bulger to this prison that Jimmy had the yard and was big, and I guess there was a lot of blacks there. Jimmy, when they send Whitey there, because the mafia wanted him, for doing all that testifying and snitching, they got permission. They went to Jimmy and was like, damn, he must be coming here because the blacks about to take care of him and look out for him. He said, no, I ain't protecting him. He was killed 15 minutes within that conversation.
Wow.
This is all I'm trying to say, how the type of juice that Jimmy still has to this day. He did snitch. He definitely was a big snitch with the Italians. And the mafia brought up a bunch of them now.
But Jimmy has had a reputation now of alleged paperwork that Wack has spoken about.
I'm still trying to tell you how that nigga still got a yard in the federal penitentiary, and it ain't a Supermax. It ain't where El Chapo and them at, or people like that. But it ain't the one in Colorado. But it's still a level 4 or a Supermax federal penitentiary. So I don't buy into that.
Do you know? You do know that Wack was actually there for that Suge Knight situation with Jimmy in the phone call?
He said it. He always told me the conversation. I have never had any conversations with Suge about it, to say if it's true or not. But Wack talks a lot of shit. But I ain't never really caught Wack in no major outright lies. You know what I'm saying?
So it might be a little exaggerated, but it's not a full-blown lie.
Exactly.
And that situation was when Suge got shot in the leg, and supposedly Jimmy was on the phone, Wack's phone, give the phone to Suge, and he said, next time I'm gonna have to raise that gun and hit you in the head instead.
He raised it a little higher. It's gonna be a headshot. It won't be that low.
And you don't know the source of their beef.
Just that push it up, politics, pushing up on each other. Sometimes when you bullying somebody, you bump heads.
Right.
Because, you may bump heads into somebody that, I'm pushing up. It was a guy back in the day Suge used to bump heads into. A lot of people don't know about that. He had a lot of people named, I can't think of his name now. He was in a wheelchair. He's real popular out here in LA. But I'll think of his name in a minute. I don't believe I can think of his name right now. But he had a lot of juice out there in the streets. And him and Suge, he ended up putting out Rome, and he had Hammer and them, and Jodeci and all of them. And I can't think of his name. But I'm just saying that they used to always bump heads and be like, dude, I'm protecting them. These my people. They niggas look out, Why are you fucking with them? And vice versa. And that happens among guys that protecting where usually they have good. Suge and Big Hugh used to play niggas like that. They'll run to Big Hugh and say, I can protect you from Suge. And Suge will run and say, I can protect you from Big Hugh. And those niggas was laughing to the bank all together, cashing the check.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Concepcion is the guy name I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Michael.
okay. I want to shift things and end things on a positive note. What is your favorite memory of Suge Knight?
Just doing things, man. That nigga exposed me to sleeping in $5,000 a night rooms, suites, four season hotels, being on the 50-yard line of the 50-yard line of Super Bowls in Miami and all that, being on private planes, uh, sending my mother flowers when she had surgery or something, giving my mother and father uh, um, um, gift cards and massage stuff to the Four Seasons to go to the spa. Just being a generous person with people that he didn't have to be. Uh, um, Advice when things was bad, he would talk and be like, "Red, you need to handle it this way, or you need to think about doing the stuff this way." Uh, he was a jokester, talk shit, but can be serious when he know, hey, now this really affecting this nigga, or he's really fucked up behind this situation or whatever. Uh, those are things, the memories that,
These are things that people don't highlight enough about Suge.
yeah. And he was that way. He had a knack to think where I thought he was my best friend. Bunchy thought he was his best friend. I'm sure Trayvon felt that way. Where Pac felt that way. Where Dre at one time felt that way. Where everybody thought when they were around him, he had a way to make you feel like you was the closest thing to him and that he cared about you.
Mm.
And then when he wasn't around you, then other people tell you, oh, he said this about you. It made you feel like shit. But you didn't want to believe it because you'd be like, nah, because I remember that nigga did and said this to me.
Right.
And I don't believe that. Those are things I remember about the dude.
What is your favorite memory of Snoop?
Snoop was just always cool, low back. When you listen to him, he not like me, interrupt you when you're talking. Will hear you out. He know how to listen and be like, okay. And just give you that nod, that cool little, like, okay. Just always cool and laid back and smooth, never raising his voice. That scene in Baby Boy when he going off on Joey? Yeah. That ain't Stu. I ain't never seen Stu like that. Like, okay, dude. He was always cool and laid back. One thing that I always give Snoop respect for now, being a married man and all of that, is he very, 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 very suddenly fuck with black women on the road. And I think that was because he was married. I ain't saying he didn't cheat and all that, but he will always pull white women or Mexicans or other nationalities. And I say that to say, be like, oh, he's still cheating on his woman or whatever. I think he did that because he just wanted to always, be like a black queen to his wife or his girl. Like, you the only black queen in my life. Because niggas do that on the road. I mean, I have cheated and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't give a fuck about my wife, love my wife to death. Or my girlfriend at the time to death. But that's just some little known fact about Snoop that I always kind of like looked up to and thought that's cool. He ain't just out here letting a black woman to have a one up on another black woman. Because that's how they look at it.
Reggie, you a lucky man. Yesterday when we were trying to get this set up, I saw your wife and she was taking care of you and everything. She's a beautiful woman, man. You're very lucky.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a thin line between love and hate, though. She let me have it sometimes too. I mean, I walk a thin line, but no, she been in my corner. She actually been in my corner since 1995, so
wow.
She's been with me through all the bullshit.
And Martin Lawrence showed us that for that thin line between love and hate, man.
It's a thin line. They can switch on you real quick, boy. But
What is your favorite memory of Pac?
Pac is somebody that just was very complicated because Flock was always like on the go and stuff, but Pac was just so smart, y'all. I just don't know how. And now I know and I get it how advanced he was over all of us as far as his way of thinking and seeing things. I'm not a Black Panther and I'm not one of those revolutionaries and all of that, but I kind of respect how Pac had that training. I can see that training coming out of him to where he was all about people, poor people, government, anti-government, and just doing the right thing and being, for the people, and just loved everybody. Uh, he was genuine with that. Would speak up against anything that he felt was not for the people,
Mm.
and that's what I get from Pac. That if this not right or this not the right thing, then I'm against it. Then fuck it. Then it ain't no good. He wouldn't be scared to stand up for what he felt was for the minority, or not so much the minority person, the minority group, that was in the minority. He would want to fight for the underdog. That's probably the better word.
What do you think he'd be doing right now if he was still here?
Politician.
Politician.
If he could have got the felony stuff straightened out and all of that, he would be some type of Ben Crump, or I'm not saying attorney or anything like that. Just speaking up for the people, speaking up for all of this, this era. Luckily, we haven't had one in a while. All this bad police shootings and stuff like that, and where we always, where people was out rioting and stuff like that, and had to speak against, where all the cops in the system was feeling like, fuck it, okay, it happened. He would have been one of the ones out in front saying, no, y'all not gonna get away with this. We're gonna bring attention to this, and he would have been bringing attention to negative things that was happening. Is what I feel.
I think if not a politician, he would have started a nonprofit organization to fight for those very things.
Yeah, that's what I believe he would have been doing, and I think he would have been a big movie star. Probably had a production company, maybe on the tip like Ice Cube.
Right.
I don't think he would have been like on the tip like Denzel or The Rock or anybody like that, because something would have happened. Just because we don't get long runs, as we see Bill Cosby, Jesse, everybody. They really eventually find something on us to knock us down and knock us off of that. Or maybe he already got that. So I believe he would have. Something like that, unfortunately, would have happened. R. Kelly. Yeah, I'm not saying a situation like that. It's just how, unfortunately, shit happens over time where we get knocked down and people get to shit on us. But so I don't think he would have had that long of a run with stuff like that. But he would have had something where he'd still be in force.
That's what people think happened already with that assault charge that he was in prison for.
Yeah. And that's why I said it might have been the negative thing that happened to him that might have had knocked him down. That, unfortunately, I just want to believe something bad eventually got to happen to us in life that happens to us. And hopefully that would have been the one thing, other than, of course, this death, this tragic death that would have happened to him.
All right, Reggie. Well, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day, man, to do this interview. I really appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you for having me on your channel, reaching out to me, asking me to be a part of it. I know that I don't have to be, and I appreciate the people that, that give me enough respect to say, hey, come over here and talk to my audience and tell them, tell them your side of the story. Because that's all we're here for.
Right.
Ain't none of us right or wrong. We just tell them what we feel, or our perception. You may see one thing and I see the same thing, and we both have a different eyewitness of it.
Right.
You know, I'm just telling you how I saw things or my view. And I'm not the smartest man alive. I'm not always the one that's right on every subject. I'm just telling you Reggie's view. And that's all I'm about.